Hey folks, David Watts here. Got another Luminar video for you. This is Luminar version 3.11, brand new version as of mid-June 2019. So I hope this is helpful to you. First of all, the purpose of this video is to show you how we might take a challenging portrait on a kind of a challenging day and really turn it into something special. So if you're like me, you enjoy outdoor portrait kind of work, and I especially like using natural light sort of situations, sometimes supplementing with a reflector, or in other cases a small LED light, or sometimes even a strobe of some sort. But I really enjoy the quick, agile capability of using natural light. But you can't control everything with natural light. You're, by definition, right? You're using the light that's around, and you're subject to some limitations. But I think that makes it interesting and kind of exciting. Anyway, this was taken on a Saturday morning. I chose the morning because the light is softer, but the light got a lot harder and more harsh more quickly than I thought it would. And so I had to get a little bit creative in the positioning of the model and the way we structured the shoot to get the kind of images we wanted. And so I wanted to show you how we work around that when things aren't exactly perfect. And so first of all, because the light got rather harsh rather quickly, I put the model with her back to the sunlight. And so first of all, what that does is gives us almost this nice sort of edge lighting, background lighting all around her hair. And she had lots of interesting hair and lots of curls, and it really worked for this model because there was a lot of interesting things to see there, I think. It might not work with some models, but with this one I think it really did. So here's the approach I would take, and we're going to go over here and we're just going to edit. We've got our filters open. We have the develop filter, which if this were a raw image, it would say raw develop, but this is a JPEG image. And by the way, I'm using a Fujifilm X-H1 with a 90mm f2 lens. So it's a fantastic combination, but you can use anything you want. The specific hardware doesn't matter that much, but that's what I use. And I shoot in JPEG on a lot of these kind of shoots because I just get a better starting point. If I can get it pretty close in camera, I still have a lot of latitude and really can craft some nice images starting with these JPEGs. By the way, if you are a Fuji shooter, be sure to give me a subscribe and a thumbs up. That'll help us, and we'll have more tips and tricks along the way. In any case, if you're a Fuji shooter, what I use, by the way, is the Pro Negative Standard film simulation. It's a little bit desaturated. I like it. Again, gives me good latitude for making some adjustments. First thing I like to do is get the white balance right. So using the develop tool, pick the little eyedropper there. She had a white t-shirt on. That makes it kind of nice. And let's just start there. And right away we get a much better, warmer sort of view. Now it's probably too much, and I'm going to back that off somewhere kind of in this area. It starts to feel better. And we retain some of this nice warmth of the image, but without it being too fakey, if you will. So let's just do a quick before and after. There's before, and it's rather cool, almost a little grayish. Now there's just more life in the image, and I like that. Let's maybe even back it off just a bit more. Maybe with the tint, you see we can go way too far, of course, in either direction, but somewhere right in here feels about right. So we'll keep it right there for the moment. That's step one. Right away, you get a much better image. Again, the beautiful backlighting, the warmth of the sun. It looks more like an early morning, kind of warm picture, portrait. Just a lot of nice light feeling in it. So that's number one. The second thing I do is use the Accent AI filter. I like to get the white balance right, because then you can better judge if the Accent AI filter is doing good things or not. And so I would start with the white balance and then go about halfway on the AI filter and maybe try a little more and just kind of see how that works. And I like the result we're getting. Again, let's do this. We'll turn off the filter, and there it is without it. So this is just the white balance. And now it's back. And so it really brings up, I think, adds some contrast, brings up some of the just the visuals here in the background, and just gives it a nicer feel. So we've done two things real quick: some white balance and the Accent AI filter. Okay, A second thing we'll do, and this is roughly in order of these filters. A lot of our female models like to have a little bit of skin softening, and so let's do that. I use the structure filter to basically achieve this effect, and usually I use just the amount slider. I usually don't need to mess with the others. So let's do this. First, let's zoom in just a little bit on the model. And as with all of us, you know, we're not movie star perfect, just a few little spots here and there, but the structure really helps. If we bring that down here, you can see if we go all the way, it's just way too fake. But somewhere up in here, we get a nice look. It's realistic, but just smooths out the skin just a little bit. Here's the before. Oops, let's see, that's the before. And here's the after. We might go just a little bit more. And it just provides a really nice look, I think. Okay, so that's the second step. And again, if we do a before and after, we start to get some nice results. Now, sometimes as you look at this, I'm looking at, again, thinking maybe it's still just a bit too warm. So let's try this. We're going to also fit it back to the screen and just do a little before. And it's good to do this before and after as you go, because you can head down a trail and realize that wasn't the best. But it's good to check it periodically. All right, so I like where we are at the moment, especially with something else we'll do in just a second here. And what we'll do, I like to use the structure and vibrance filter. For me, I like to back off the saturation even a bit more. Okay, now you can again see too much. But saturation, we're going to reset it. Saturation tends to affect skin tones pretty heavily. So I'm going to back this off just a bit. And if I want to restore some of the vibrance or some of the color and the saturation, I can do that with the vibrance slider, and it doesn't affect skin tones nearly as much. Eventually it will. You can see we can go real fake here with it. We don't want to be fake. We want something that's more effective. And so let's again, we'll turn this off and back on. It may be a little hard to see the difference, but it'll be there. And every little bit will make a, let's look at the aggregate. Oh, there we go, original, and where we are today. Okay? Now, the one other thing I forgot to show you, with the structure, when we made this change, and we kind of zoomed in to look at the skin, we made this change, though, to everything. And it might be okay for a lot of things, but I'd like to keep the texture of her sweater and her hair. And this structure slider has begun to soften that just a little bit. That's why it works in the face. We don't want it. We want it in the face. We don't want it other places. So we're just going to use the paintbrush. And this brush will brush in the structure, the softening that we applied. We're just going to brush it in just to the areas we want it. So just like this. Just going to brush it in a little bit. And we're not going to brush over the eyes or the hair. We want to keep those nice and sharp, and the eyebrows. And just like this, and maybe down just a little bit. And you'll notice here on the structure filter, there's a little icon now that shows that we've done a little bit of painting. And there's more to do on filters. I've got some other videos where we've applied filters by this fashion. So I'll save that for another time, or a quick recap for another time. But anyway, so we've been selective about it. And the other thing we could consider is this clarity slider. Now that really sharpens things up a bit. Usually it's a little too much for my taste. All right. So instead of clarity, what we can do, we'll reset this back to 0. I'm going to go out here and get another filter. And this one is going to be the Details Enhancer. So what I find, let's zoom in just a bit. We'll use an area like this. This is in focus. It's nice and sharp. And if we crank up the small details, it really does make a difference. Do you see what that did there? All right. Now, it brought this up really high, and maybe too much. It also applied itself globally again, and we don't necessarily want it to be applied globally. We want it on the sweater, probably in this spot here, down here where the sweater was long and covered her leg, and maybe on the hair. So again, we can do the exact same thing. We can brush it in just to the areas where we really want it. And again, it gives just a little extra dimension there, a little extra crispness. And if we want to get adventurous, we can do just a little up here in the hair and pick up just a little of this. It won't be super noticeable, and that's the point. You don't want it real noticeable, but just enough to add a little bit of texture, a little bit of structure, if you will, details. Okay? And so what we've done is 4 things. I think we've done, no, maybe we've done 5. Anyway, we adjusted the white balance just to make it a little bit warmer, a little bit of accent AI filter, a little bit of softening for the skin, a little bit of desaturation. And again, good to keep looking at this. In fact, I'm going to close this up. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Good to keep looking at this and decide, is it still a little too warm? Maybe we back it off just a little bit more. We're down kind of -7 here. I don't want an orange skin tone. So we're just trying to get it exactly right. And with that said, we will come back here, again, look before and after. Before, after. So to me, rather cool, not too exciting, but after, much better. And again, this is art, so you get to decide how you want to do it, but that kind of works for me. So to quickly recap, challenging lighting condition, rather harsh sun, but we put the model with her back to the sun, provided that nice sort of REM lighting around her hair. We had enough ambient light from other places to come back around, give her some nice light illumination on her face without a bunch of harsh shadows. And then we just tweaked white balance, used the accent AI filter, a little bit of structure to soften things up a bit, a little bit of desaturation, and just a little crispness in these details. Hope that might help a little bit. We'll try to put some other videos out and help you do more things with Luminar 3. It's a great product. I think you'll like it, and maybe this helps you get just a little bit more out of it. Anyway, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.